Could a big move finally be coming for our Chicago Bulls? What's going on, guys? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're diving into AK's press conference as he hinted that he is going to be making moves this offseason. We'll dive into that here in a second. But first off, I got to make sure you guys are all subscribed. I finally do believe the Bulls are going to be active this offseason after staying put over the past couple of years. But if you guys aren't already, hit that sub button. If we get any more news or rumors around your basketball team, I will make a video for you guys ASAP. So I'm kindly asking you, go down there, hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. What's up, everybody? Let's talk about it. Let's dive into AK's press conference as he hinted at some changes could be coming for our Chicago Bulls. And let's just dive right into the quote here coming from Arturus Karnisovas as he says, "I've said numerous times today, this group, something doesn't work. I have to find a group that's going to make improvements. We've done it for a couple of years now, and it hasn't worked. Everything is on the table." And when I read this quote, guys, you guys know the story of the boy who cried wolf. This just literally sounded like that exact story in my ears when I was listening to that press conference. He said, clearly it did not work this season. Clearly changes have to be made. He has said this before in the past. So I understand that, maybe finally it's a push come to shove moment and the Bulls are going to make some big time changes to this roster and break up the big three of LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic. But I am still skeptical because this man has just straight up lied to the fans for the past couple of years. So I guess this offseason we'll have to wait and see. And honestly, it got me this question. What really big moves could the Bulls make? Like, are they willing to move off LaVine, Vucevic, DeRozan? I'm still skeptical of that. Well, with the current Bulls cap space situation, what other moves are there available besides starting with the big three? So coming up on today's show, 5 decisions that the Bulls are going to have to make, and it starts with the man up top right there, DeMar DeRozan. When we did get a report coming in from Casey Johnson, who did report this, that the Bulls did recently propose a 2-year contract to DeMar valued at $40 million per season. This was not 40 total. This was not 20 per. This was a 2-year, $80 million deal that the Bulls offered DeMar. And all I got to say is I love DeMar, but come on. Come on. You say all this stuff about big changes need to happen. You say all this we're sick of just being in the play-in tournament and losing to the Miami Heat. You can say all this. And then immediately after we hear that from AK, we get a report that said he offered him a 2-year, $80 million deal. Guys, they are okay with the Bulls staying as a middle-of-the-pack team in the NBA. Because you want to know why? Because the Bulls were yet again number 1 in attendance. They sold out that play-in game, and it was electric in the United Center. Something has to change with us Bulls fans to make the front office finally make some moves. I was absolutely furious when I read that report. And I love DeMar DeRozan. I thought he's been great for the Chicago Bulls. This has nothing to do with him. Great basketball player, great leader. But you're going to sign him for a 2-year, $80 million deal. Start asking yourself, what can these guys do for you in the future instead of what they've done for you in the past? And I think we'll be getting some clear answers here for the Bulls front office. But number 2, they got to make a decision on Zach LaVine. And frankly, I'm tired of Zach LaVine being on this team. I mean, I just think he's just not a good leader. He's a tremendous basketball player, all types of talent, 3-level scorer. He is an unreal talented basketball player. But I would move off him ASAP because I think the Bulls are at a point right now where they just need leadership and they just need quality winning basketball players. And that's just not Zach LaVine. And honestly, if I were the Bulls, I'd be calling up the San Antonio Spurs right now as they still got Wemby on that rookie contract so they can take in LaVine's deal and be like, hey, give us a first-round pick. But if they say no to that, I'd be willing to shake their hand and be like, you know what? 2nd-round pick for Zach LaVine. I'm willing to move on. But let me ask you guys, would you trade Zach LaVine for a 2nd-round pick? If I was asking you guys this last offseason, I would have a ton of people yelling at me down in the comment section. You don't know anything, all this, yada, yada, yada. But I actually think this is a fair question to ask right now. Zach LaVine, 2nd-round pick. You're able to move off his contract. What would you do? Give me a T for trade or give me a P for pass. I got 3 more decisions for the Chicago Bulls that they have to make this offseason. Coming to you guys in just a second. But let me tell you about my favorite app I have on my phone, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. And how do you play Prize Picks? It's simple. All you do is choose more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And even though football season is not here, which is personally my favorite sport to make Prize Picks lineups for, NBA playoffs are here. And yet again, the Bulls are not in it. But hey, you want to add a little more extra juice to those playoff games, creating a Prize Picks lineup is the best way to do so. So again, choose 2 or more players, choose more than, choose less than on their stat projections, and you guys can start seeing the cash roll in today. Even if it's a boring game or if it's a blowout in the NBA playoffs, when you have a Prize Picks lineup, it keeps you engaged in that game from start to finish. I'll put that link for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. But if you guys use promo code CLNS, we're going to match your first deposit up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS and plug in that promo code CLNS, and we're going to match your first deposit up to $100. So another player that I think the Bulls need to move off of and just kind of rip this Band-Aid off is Nikola Vucevic. Vuce, I'm just going to call it like it is. He was just flat out terrible this past season. And I know if you're a common NBA fan and you're looking at these stats right here and you're probably thinking to yourself, that is rich of you to call a man who averaged 18 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, and shot 48% from the field, saying he had a terrible season. He is the worst post defender and pick and roll defender I have seen in the NBA over the past 10 seasons. And I fully do believe that. So even though the offensive output can look nice, like you look at these stats right here and you're like, oh, Vuce is a solid basketball player. But if you actually go watch these games, he is an overall net negative on the basketball court. You rip this Band-Aid off, I would honestly be okay with cutting him this offseason and just eating his $40 million over the next 2 seasons. Can't believe they signed him to a 3-year, $60 million deal this offseason. One of the worst moves that this front office has ever made. As I'm getting myself fired up right now, talking you guys through this show, as Tex is laughing right now. But Tex, this is a problem we have in Chicago. The front office is yet again okay with being an okay basketball team. I'm trying to be great, and I think you start off with moving off Vooch. But maybe you hit free agency. Maybe the big move that AK is planning on making is signing a star in this free agency class. Well, I'll tell you what, if you do end up bringing in DeMar DeRozan for a $40 million deal, or if you end up signing a star, it's just not going to work out. Financially, the Bulls just don't have that much money because you got $40 million for Zach LaVine, $20 million for Lonzo Ball, and if you want to add another $40 million to that man up there, DeMar DeRozan, you can kiss any free agent signing goodbye. But here's some of the top free agents that I put out there for the Bulls. You got Paul George on a player option. If he does decline that, he would be my number 1 option by far for Chicago. Even though he is getting up there in age with some injury history, I still think he's a tremendous basketball player, 3-and-D, can guard multiple positions, and just overall be an offensive force when he has the ball in his hands. James Harden I'd be out on. LeBron I would have some interest in, but I just feel like it would be a mediator for LeBron heading to Chicago. But this is a guy right here, Nick Claxton. If you are going to move off Nikola Vucevic, I think Claxton should be the first name you call to replace him. But, hey, maybe it's also a guy like Quickly as well who's a restricted free agent. But my 5th decision that the Bulls are going to have to make, pulling off a blockbuster deal. And, you know, this could be a guy like, what if Giannis wants out of Milwaukee or Zion wants out of New Orleans or, you know, any superstar player. I just don't think the Bulls have enough draft capital and young assets to go get a superstar in a trade. But what about just a really good basketball player in Mitchell Robinson? So the New York Knicks have a decision to make this offseason on keeping either Hartenstein or Mitch Rob, and I'm thinking they're going to lean Isaiah Hartenstein, but they could also, you know, go either. So honestly, if it's Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein, I want the Bulls to bring in one of the Knicks centers. They're both super physical. They can protect the rim and the paint very, very well. Both have really solid push shots, more specifically Hartenstein. But, hey, maybe it's a big-time trade where you send Vooch to another team, and it's a 3-team deal where the Bulls end up getting in Mitchell Robinson. But, hey, that would be a guy that I would absolutely love to bring in. But let me know, what is one move the Bulls need to make this offseason, whether it's cutting LaVine, letting DeMar walk, or cutting Vooch, whatever it may be? What is your one move that the Bulls need to make this offseason? Let me know down below in the comments section. And as always, guys, make sure you guys are subscribed because if we get any more reports on the Bulls maybe making a move, we'll have a video for you guys ASAP. So hit that sub button, lock us in. See y'all next time. Go Bulls, baby.